Aloha, everyone. If you're just joining us, we're going to give it a few more minutes to let other people join. We'll get started around 5:33. Hey, we can get started. Aloha and mahalo, everyone, for joining. My name is David Sakota, and I'm the Fisheries Program Manager for the state of Hawaii, Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources. I will be conducting tonight's public hearing. And we also have our DAR staff at our in-person host site on Kauaʻi. It is now 5:33 p.m. and this public hearing is called to order. This is a formal statewide public hearing on proposed amendments to Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 13-95, rules regulating the taking and selling of certain marine resources. The primary purpose of this proposal is to update rules for MANINI, kala, uhu, and pāpaʻi KUALOA or Kona crab, establish rules for KOLE, and update the chapter with other various housekeeping amendments. As required by law, the proposed rules have been drafted in Ramsar format, copies of which can be found in the announcements section of the DAR website. Those attending the meeting in person may ask DAR staff for a copy. This public hearing is being simultaneously live streamed to the DAR YouTube channel for anyone wishing to observe the public hearing but not provide testimony. For your convenience, the address to the DAR YouTube channel is at the top of this slide, and a link to the live stream has also been pasted into the chat. The purpose of this hearing is to provide the public the opportunity to provide comments in the form of oral and written testimony on these proposed amendments. Approval to conduct this public hearing was obtained from the Board of Land and Natural Resources at their board meeting on May 12, 2023. The legal notice of this public hearing was published in the July 1st, 2023 Saturday issues of the Garden Island newspaper and in the July 2nd, 2023 Sunday issue of the Honolulu Star Advertiser. Additionally, notice of this public hearing was posted on the draft rules and public notices page of the DAR website, where digital copies of the draft rules in Ramsar format can be found, as well as posted on the announcements page of the DAR website. Hearing procedures. First, We will watch a short video explaining the proposed changes to the administrative rules. We will then begin the public testimony period, which will be conducted as follows. Everyone testifying via Zoom was required to pre-register in order to get the link to testify. We will keep registration open throughout the public hearing and will monitor our email in case anyone has trouble registering or joining the Zoom meeting to provide their testimony. However, if you are unable to join via Zoom, you may still provide oral testimony at one of the in-person hearing locations listed in the slide, or you may submit written testimony by following the directions at the bottom of the slide. Everyone testifying in person at the host site should have written their information down on the sign-in sheet provided at the host site. And those attending in person who have not registered but would like to provide testimony can alert the DAR public hearing officer at the in-person site at this time, and your name will be added to the list. It is important that everyone who wishes to testify provide their name and contact information so we have an accurate record of everyone providing testimony. You will be called upon by a member of the DAR staff when it is your turn to testify. We ask that all individuals attending virtually keep their microphones muted when not speaking. We will take testimony in the following order. First, we will take in-person testimony from people who have been signed up to testify at the in-person host site at the Kauaʻi Veterans Center. Once all in-person testimony is gathered, we will take Zoom testimony. Please keep your testimony brief and on subject to allow everyone the opportunity to testify. Each person providing testimony will be given 3 minutes. And please be aware that if you go beyond 3 minutes, I will kindly ask you to conclude your testimony. We are recording this hearing to make a complete and accurate record of the proceedings, so please state your full name before giving your testimony. Make sure to speak clearly so we accurately record your testimony for the record. Please turn off the live YouTube stream of this hearing while testifying, as it will cause an echo. Please remember to respect the opinions of all testifiers and that this hearing is not an opportunity for accusations or rebuttals. There may be differing opinions. Everyone will have an opportunity to voice their opinion for the department to consider. All testimony should be directed to me, not to the audience. Once again, please note that this hearing is simultaneously being streamed on YouTube. The live stream will be recorded and preserved on YouTube as a matter of public record. Please be aware that by offering your oral testimony today, you are consenting to being audio and video recorded if your camera is on. Let's begin with a short video on the background explaining the proposed administrative rules.
Proposed amendments to Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 13-95, Rules regulating the taking and selling of certain marine resources. KUALOA or Kona crab. DAR has identified the need to amend the rules for KUALOA based on a number of factors. In 2018, a stock assessment was conducted which suggests that the KUALOA population is healthy. There is currently an annual catch limit or ACL in place, and current harvest numbers have been well below the established ACL, indicating that an increase in harvest would be sustainable to KUALOA populations. Current regulations that prohibit the take of any female KUALOA result in 80% discard rates due to catch being female or undersized. Additionally, an extended close season will help prevent catch of females with eggs. Current rules for KUALOA are a minimum carapace length of 4 inches, no taking of females with or without eggs, and a close season of May through August. The proposed amendments to the KUALOA rules keep the same minimum size of 4 inches, but allows the take of females without eggs and extends the close season an additional month from May through September. Proposed amendments to Hawaii Administrative Rules, Chapter 13-95, Rules regulating the taking and selling of marine resources, MANINI, KOLE, KALA, and uhu. Pictured here are the fish species with new or amended rules within this proposal. They are MANINI or Convict Tang, KOLE or GOLDRING surgeonfish, KULA or Bluespine Unicornfish, and all species of uhu or parrotfish. Manini, KOLE, KULA, and uhu are all important food fish. They are important to both recreational and subsistence fisheries, and in some cases sustain commercial fisheries as well. Because of their widespread importance to fishing, DAR wants to take a proactive approach to ensuring that their populations are sustained in perpetuity. Also, increasing non-fishing threats put added pressure onto the resource. Coral bleaching, poor water quality, and habitat loss are just some threats to these fisheries and are expected to get worse with climate change and a growing human population. Fisheries management may not address these threats directly, but will offer these species some relief as future action including land-based initiatives increase. Additionally, herbivores play a crucial role on reefs, maintaining balance and providing the right conditions for corals to flourish. Large-bodied uhu in particular aid in the settlement of larval coral with no redundancy in the ecosystem, meaning there are no other species to fill the role they play within the ecosystem if they are depleted. The current rules for manini are a minimum size of 5 inches. The proposed rule would increase the minimum length to 6 inches to match the upper range of the L50, or the length where approximately 50% of the population has reached reproductive maturity. There is no current statewide rule for KOLE. The proposed rules include a minimum size for KOLE of 5 inches. Although the minimum size is conservative when compared to the L50 for KOLE of 3.3 to 3.9 inches, the proposed minimum size is consistent with the size that most spearfishers harvest KOLE. Currently, the statewide rule for KULA is a minimum length of 14 inches with no bag limit. The current minimum length is consistent with the L50 for KULA at just under 14 inches. The proposed rules for non-commercial take of KULA keep the minimum size limit at 14 inches, but also include a bag limit of 2 per person per day. As a means to reduce the commercial take of KULA while still maintaining the commercial fishery, DAR proposes separate rules for the commercial taking and selling of KULA. The proposed commercial rules for KULA would require a commercial KULA fisher to obtain a separate commercial KULA fishing permit, in addition to a commercial marine license, or CML, which is required for all persons wishing to sell their catch. The permit fee would be $100 annually in addition to the fee for a CML, and in order to maintain eligibility for a commercial KULA fishing permit, permit holder must have caught and sold at least 100 pounds of KULA within the previous year if they had a commercial KULA fishing permit within the last 12 months. The proposed rules for commercial KULA fishing permit holders are a commercial daily bag limit of 50 KULA per permit holder per day, no commercial harvest or sale during the KULA spawning season of April through July, an annual catch limit or ACL of 10,000 pounds. When the ACL is reached, the fishery will be closed for commercial harvest or sale for the rest of the year. Additionally, the proposed rules requires dealers who sell KULA to register as a commercial KULA dealer. With the exception of Maui, the current statewide rules for uhu pālukaluka, uhu eleele, uhu ahu'ula, and uhu uliuli, which are collectively referred to as large-bodied uhu, is a minimum length of 12 inches with no bag limit. The proposed rules for non-commercial take of large-bodied uhu would prohibit the take of uhu eleele and uhu uliuli, the terminal phase blue large-bodied uhu, increase the minimum size for uhu pālukaluka and uhu ahu'ula, the initial phase red large-bodied uhu, from 12 inches to 14 inches, and impose a combined total non-commercial bag limit of 2 per person per day for all uhu species, both large-bodied and small-bodied, mirroring the Maui uhu rules. Again, with the exception of Maui, the current statewide rule for small-bodied species of uhu is a minimum length of 12 inches, noting that ponuhunuhu and yellow-bar parrotfish are not regulated. The proposed rule would apply the Maui rules statewide with a minimum length of 10 inches for non-commercial take of all small-bodied species of uhu. Also, as mentioned in the previous slide, small-bodied uhu would be included within the combined total non-commercial bag limit of 2 per person per day for all uhu species. Similar to KALA, the proposed rules include separate rules for commercial uhu fishers and dealers. The proposed commercial rules for uhu would require a commercial uhu fisher to obtain a separate commercial uhu fishing permit, which is a separate permit from the commercial KALA fishing permit, in addition to a commercial marine license. The permit fee would be $100 annually, in addition to the fee for a commercial marine license, and in order to maintain eligibility for a commercial uhu fishing permit, a permit holder must have caught and sold at least 340 pounds of uhu within the previous year if they had a commercial uhu fishing permit within the last 12 months. The proposed rules for commercial uhu fishing permit holders are a commercial daily bag limit of 30 uhu per permit holder per day, a commercial slot limit of 14 to 20 inches, meaning a minimum size of 14 inches and a maximum size of 20 inches, no commercial harvest or sale during the uhu spawning season of February through May, an annual catch limit of 34,000 pounds. Again, when the ACL is reached, the fishery will be closed for commercial harvest or sale for the rest of the year, and only uhu pālukaluka, or initial phase red-lip parrotfish, is allowed for commercial taking and selling. Additionally, the proposed rules requires dealers who sell uhu to register as a commercial uhu dealer. To illustrate the allowable catch of all uhu species, here are all the species that are proposed to be regulated, which would be all uhu species, both large-bodied and small-bodied. For non-commercial take, uhu uliuli and uhu ele would be prohibited as indicated in this slide. For commercial take, all uhu would be prohibited except uhu pālukaluka.
We have now reached the testimony portion of this public hearing. As a reminder, the address to the DAR YouTube channel is at the top of this slide, and a link to the live stream has also been pasted into the chat. If you just want to listen into this hearing without providing testimony, you're welcome to log off this Zoom meeting and view the YouTube live stream of this hearing. If you remain in the Zoom room, you'll be called upon by the DAR staff when it is your turn to testify. We ask that all individuals attending virtually keep their microphones muted when not speaking. As I mentioned earlier, we'll take testimony in the following order. First, we'll take in-person testimony from people signed up to testify at the in-person host site on Kauaʻi. And once all in-person testimony is gathered, we'll take Zoom testimony. As a reminder, please keep your testimony to 3 minutes in order to ensure that everyone who signed up has a chance to give testimony. If there is extra time at the end of everyone on the list and you would like more time to testify, we will allow those who already spoke to give additional testimony. I'll now stop sharing my screen so everyone providing testimony can be clearly seen.
Fletcher.
Okay, first, we'll take in-person testimony on Kauaʻi. So please come up, state your name, and proceed.
Hello, thank you for providing this. My name is Fletcher Parker. Born and raised on Kauaʻi. Been a spear fisherman my whole life, or essentially as long as I could be. And I just wanted to show up to the meetings and give my personal thoughts that I'm for a lot of the regulations. The uhu fisheries I watched in my lifetime in the last 20 years of diving have gone from a lot of fish to I dove today and there's barely any fish. So just cut back to I don't know, I'm bad at these things. I just wanted to come on and say that I'm for the not taking of blues. I'm not a scientist, but I've done my independent research, and the spawning and the not taking of the blue uhus, and I'm not good at these things. KOLEs, MANINIs, I feel a little torn on that one just because it's gonna affect a lot of us that are, we do have, as divers, we do got to be selective with what we shoot, and it's kind of hard with the regulation change a little bit bigger, and if you're throwing net, you gonna have bycatch. And the biggest reason I showed up is the questioning of the commercial of the 30 uhus a day, 50 kalas. That's kind of a hard pill to swallow because growing up here, I've never seen kala or uhu sold commercially, yet I've been told it's being done. So I don't know, it's something that I wanted to kind of bring up my concern of that many fish coming off the reef and already our fishery being so depleted. And people say, oh, it's the shallow water that's just depleted, but it's something that I feel it needs to be kind of brought up as well. And I know there's people out there that they make a living off of uhus and kalas commercially, but at what expense is it to where our kids, our grandkids, are they going to have fish when the time comes when the commercial is still taking that much fish? And said everything done the right way, I guess, can be all right, but I'm just here as a young person raised on Kauaʻi addressing that. I feel it's, I don't know if those numbers are, I don't want to say fair, but if it's sustainable. And I mean, 30 uhus a day, if someone's cracking them every day, that's a lot of fish. The same with the kalas, like everything's small on the reef. There's not a lot of fish around. And I don't know, I just feel like I had to show up. No one hears if you don't show up. So this is me showing up and talking about what I'm passionate about is the next generations and the uncles that have regulated over the years and the aunties that have gone through and made sure that people in my generation still have some fish. And got to make sure that everyone can enjoy it. And I understand the commercial take, but at what expense? So thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. And thank you for putting this on. Mahalo.
Hey, mahalo. We appreciate you taking the time. Yeah, aloha. Please state your name and proceed.
Aloha. Ona kai elua vilatora ko'i noa no ka mokupuni o Kauaʻi mai au ka puna ka moku o puna ka ahupua o kalapaki. He wahine maoli kanaka o iwi no ke ia kōpai aina Hawai'i. So mahalo nui for hosting this meeting here so that we can understand the new proposed regulations for certain species, marine species here in Hawai'i. I just wanted to bring up my concern as a kanaka o iwi, a kanaka maoli, that for us, the interconnection between our relationship to the aina, to the kai, the resources that our kupuna has survived and thrived off of is very important. And as a mother who has children and wanting to see the resources that we grew up on being plentiful, being offered for our children and the next generations to come, like our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, is very important and is significant for us to really have you folks, the department, realize that when it comes to regulations like this, we really do need more enforcement when you guys put out rules like this, because mismanagement is a huge reason why a lot of these populations are declining over the years, especially in the last 3 decades. I'm only 28 years old, but the stories that I've heard from my parents, from my grandparents, my great grandmother, when she used to do a lot of fishing in her home of Kalapaki here on Kauaʻi, is insane to see how much of our natural resources and our fisheries are completely decimated by overpopulation, overpollution, and a lot of the effects have to come from the aina, the land. And I understand that your folks' jurisdiction is within the marine system, but one thing that I always say is that there's always an interconnection between the land and the sea. One thing about the regulations, I totally get it about the enforcements of the amount of uhus being taken off of the reef, especially the male uhus. I'm a wife of a person who dives. Fletcher was my kane, and he does his part in trying to educate the young boys and the young fishermen that are doing it for social media. It's a huge thing, social media now, to showing your catch and things like that. And I understand that to some point, but we need more regulations on that, or education for the next generation on that. And then the commercial fishing, I absolutely do not support that at all, because I think that with all the amount of other fish that has been overfished, and it's just ridiculous. Uhu is such a an important part of the reef. And even in our Hawaiian culture, I just looked in our Olelo No'eaus, our proverbs in Olelo Hawaii, and we have about 7 proverbs of uhus and a few for kala, but still there's so many proverbs and ike papalua, ike kupuna, ancestral knowledge significant to these fishes. So we just need the respect and the support from you folks to manage these resources for our next generations. Mahalo nui for your time. Mahalo.
Hey, mahalo.
Did you want to testify? No? Okay. Chad? I have no guess. Okay. Taryn?
Aloha, please state your name and proceed.
Aloha, my name is Taryn Dizon, and as the way the rules are written, I oppose the proposal to amend fishing regulations due to the methods that DAR is using, which include poor science, which provides skewed results and a false impression of all possible contributing variables and factors. At facts, in September 2000, the Hawaii Supreme Court's Kapa'akai o Ka'aina landmark decision to require an analytical framework for addressing the preservation and protection of our land prior to new development, as well as the Hawaii Ocean Resource Management Plan, or ORMP, updated in 2000 and recently updated in 2022, advocates that we must continue to connect the land and the sea. It states that the interconnectedness of the terrestrial and marine habitats and ecosystems make Hawaii unique from any other state in the coastal zone is defined as the entire state from Mauka to Makai out to the terrestrial sea. I cannot bear the fact that we spent so many years and resources with flawed research that does not align with the ORMP of Kapa'akai o Kekai analysis when identifying possible solutions to the challenges of managing a delicate balance between conservation of our ocean resources and a sustainable economic development. As stewards, our primary focus should be on the habitat versus limitations. In Hawaii, we have 376 perennial streams statewide that capture rain clouds on 5 out of the 8 islands. I understand that it is the county's jurisdiction to enforce stream management, but the overgrowth has choked our streams, which limits or eliminates the freshwater flow to the ocean to create a healthy habitat to feed our limu and growth and support algae growth. This is exactly how our research is skewed. The habitat is not considered and only fish counts. In addition to the mismanagement of our perennial streams, our mulivai, or our estuary, is greatly impacted. The estuary is an essential nursery habitat for most marine coastal fisheries. We must stay focused with the Mauka, Mulivai, Makai connection. Climate change may come, but fish are resilient and will adapt just like the Hawaii monk seal. As a Kekaha Kauaʻi resident, we constantly face the challenge of coexisting with a monk seal who consumes 20 to 30 pounds of fish a day. Not even an average human can consume that in a week. There are about 150 monk seals on Ni'ihau, which consume over 4,500 pounds of food a day. What kind of habitat do we leave our Ni'ihau family? If and when we do go there, you'll always see multiple monk seals on the beach and rarely catch any fish. Our habitat must be our driver to DAR's mission to work with the people to manage, conserve, and restore our unique aquatic resources and ecosystem. I oppose this proposal as written, and I encourage the state to go back to the drawing board and look Mauka to connect the land and the sea. Thank you for your time.
Hey, mahalo.
Joan? Did you want to testify? Joe, I have a J. Would anybody else like to testify at this time? Oh, we've got one more.
Okay. Aloha, Clayton.
How's it going, David? Clayton Kubo, Waimea, Kauaʻi. I am in favor of the Kona crab, but I am in opposition to the herbivore, to uhu, to kala, and manini and kole. So I really don't like repeat, you know what, people had repeat. But David, please, you guys got to look at what is really going on. You know, the NADON stuff is just bogus. The other one is bogus too. It's all agenda driven, money driven. So in a way, we need to start figuring out what is you guys is so-called what you guys is seeing, because I tell you what, we're not seeing that. And again, reiterating myself, I am in favor of the Kona crab, but in opposition to the herbivores. Mahalo. Aloha.
Okay, mahalo.
Anybody else like to provide testimony at this time?
That's it for the in-person.
Okay. Next, we will take Zoom testimony. If you have registered for this Zoom hearing, we'll presume that you're interested in providing testimony, and we're going to call your name in the order that you've signed up. If you do not wish to provide oral testimony, you can simply indicate so when we call your name, or you can let us know through the chat feature. So first up, we have Junior San Agustin. Junior, would you like to provide testimony?
Yes, hello, my name is Jose San Agustin Jr., and I want to testify that I am against the proposed, what you guys are proposing as far as uus, kalas, and herbivore goes. I believe that you guys should provide more data on the concept of what you guys, or the reason why we have, you guys want to enforce this this proposal. And that's all I gotta say for now. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And that's all that we have signed up on the Zoom. Is there anyone else that I haven't called that would like to provide testimony at this time? Okay. Is there anyone who has testified that wishes to provide additional testimony? Okay, I don't see any. So let's move on. Persons unable to attend today or wishing to present additional comments may mail written testimony to us by Monday, August 14th, 2023. Please mail testimonies to the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources, 1151 Punchbowl Street, room 330, Honolulu, Hawaii 96813. Written testimony may also be submitted by email to dlnr.aquatics@hawaii.gov, and those addresses are listed at the bottom of the slide. This is a projected timeline for these rules after this public hearing. The dates are estimates, assuming that no significant changes to the proposal need to be made based on the testimony received. If there are changes, then this timeline will be pushed back. Based on the testimonies presented by the department, or based on the testimonies presented, the department will submit its findings and recommendations to the Board of Land and Natural Resources. If approved by the board, the Department of the Attorney General will conduct the final legal review. And if approved, the proposed rules will be given to the governor for his final approval. Should the governor grant approval, certified copies will be filed with the Lieutenant Governor's office, and after 10 days, it becomes effective as law. Are there any questions regarding this process? Okay, well, on behalf of the Board of Land and Natural Resources and the Division of Aquatic Resources, mahalo for attending this public hearing. It is now 6:05 p.m. and this public hearing is now adjourned. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to participate in this public hearing. Aloha.